Brother lads, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Thomas Partey has today confirmed that he's leaving Arsenal. It is official. Thomas Partey's contract has officially ended today with Arsenal after 5 years, signing for us in the summer of 2020 as the first major signing of the Mikel Arteta era, of the Mikel Arteta rebuild. One of the first signings in phase 1. He leaves Arsenal as we get into phase 5 of the Mikel Arteta project. It is painful, but it's confirmed. Thomas Partey is leaving. Now, I want us to talk about why is Thomas Partey leaving, what really happened, and what was the problem in negotiations. Because Thomas Partey made it very clear that before anything else, he's an Arsenal fan first. Right? Before anything else, he's first an Arsenal fan, and then a football lover, and then money and everything. And we were told by The Athletic, we were told by Fabrizio that although Arsenal were looking to replace him earlier on, Thomas Partey had given the green light to agree a new deal with Arsenal and sign a contract extension. So what went wrong? Did Arsenal really betray Thomas Partey? Is it the PR reasons that we're hearing that Thomas Partey may be involved in some cases, and that could have impacted Arsenal's decision, and maybe Arsenal tried to give him a lower contract and failed to meet his terms and conditions just to push him away? Is that the reason? Was it just the money? Because people are saying he's greedy, Partey is greedy, right? Is it the money? Was it the money that Thomas Partey actually followed and he decided to leave Arsenal? Let's dive into all that. But Partey wanted to stay at Arsenal and now he's leaving. So we know the player wanted to stay. We know that Mikel Arteta wanted to keep him because he came out in his press conference and he said he's an important player for us. For sure, we want to keep him and negotiations are ongoing to try and keep him. So what went wrong? So the first thing we've got to talk about is that interview that Thomas Partey made with one Ghanaian outlet this summer. And when he was talking about his future, he was asked about staying at Arsenal. And he said, I love Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan and I want to enjoy football this summer. It's up to my agent and the club, right? That is what Partey said on that interview. It is up to my agent and the club. So if it was up to his agent and the club, that means that Partey was 100% willing to stay at Arsenal and his heart, soul, body and mind were to stay at the club, right? Remember Partey, even last summer, Partey had so many chances of going to Barcelona, of going to Saudi Arabia. He had so many chances of leaving. And that's why I don't agree with people who are saying it was just the money. If Partey was leaving Arsenal for just the money, he would have gone a long time ago. So it wasn't the money. And if it wasn't the money, what was it? So let's think about this. Arsenal signed Martin Zubimendi in January, right? Arsenal signed Martin Zubimendi in January. And when that deal was done, we were told by Sami Makpo from the BBC that this is a deal that Arsenal started working on last summer. So basically, Arsenal have completed the signing of Martin Zubimendi in 2025, but it started in the summer of 2024. And that is fishy. Very, very fishy, right? The reason why that is fishy is this. If you have Thomas Partey and you're willing to keep him, and he's gonna be part of your team, and he has been one of the best performing midfielders at the team in the previous campaign. Of course, we know he was. He played 42 games for Arsenal in the Premier League and the Champions League alone. 42 games. That is an important player. In a season where everyone has been injured, in a season where everyone has been struggling with injury, for Thomas Partey to put up such numbers, it was insane quality. It was immense quality. But Arsenal signed Martin Zubimendi in January. Bear in mind, in January, Arsenal fans were desperate for anything like a forward. We would have taken Marcus Rashford. We would have taken Garnacho in January. We would have taken Noni Madueke in January. We would have taken anyone and anything that plays that is not Raheem Sterling on the forward line. And Arsenal were desperate to get a forward line, a forward in January. And Mikel Arteta in every press conference was saying, we need options in attack. We need goals. We need creativity. We need to act in the market. What did Arsenal do? They went in January in a market where Arsenal needed a striker or any forward and signed Martin Zubimendi. And they said, oh yeah, you can come in the summer. You don't have to come right now. You can come in the summer. That means that right from January, right from last year, Arsenal are preparing for the leaving and departure of Partey. This all contract facade and all this contract talk has been a lie. They lied to Thomas Partey that we are going to keep you, and they stabbed him in the back, right? Because the contract they gave him, I mean, they don't just have to tell Partey that, go, we don't want you. They gave him a contract that suggested you can leave Arsenal. Because why would you ask him to take a pay cut? Why would you ask him to take lower money? You know he's 32. You know money is one of the priorities at this stage of his career as he looks to retire. Why is Kai Havertz getting 290,000 per week, 98,000 per week, and Partey has to take a pay cut? Partey is more important than Kai Havertz, and I can say that again. Partey is more irreplaceable and harder to replace than Kai Havertz. But Kai is earning 298 and Partey is taking a pay cut. They're asking him to take a pay cut, and his management and agent have said no. So in that interview, Partey says it very clearly. I want to stay at Arsenal, but it's up to the club and my agent. That's number one. And then he also says, I want to enjoy football. And we know Partey is a big Arsenal fan. So enjoying football with a club that you love, nothing beats that. Like, think about it. Trent Alexander-Arnold betrayed Liverpool just to go and play next to Bellingham at Real Madrid. He wants Madrid. He wants to be next to Jude Bellingham. So Thomas Partey would have done anything. He would have tried anything to stay at Arsenal. But I believe Arsenal didn't give him a chance. Arsenal kind of swept him like a lizard that is, literally useless in the house, right? So in that interview, Partey says there's so many conditions that factor in when you decide where to go next and whether to renew. And he talks about the family, and he says, I want my family in the future to be good, because they're going to be saying, we need this, we want this, and that's all money. So maybe there is an element of money, but I don't think it was all about money, because Arsenal never tabled a deal that compelled Partey to stay. They tabled a deal that actually tells Partey you can go. They're giving Leandro Trossard a raise, right? Trossard is one of the older players in the squad. They're giving Trossard a raise, and they're telling Partey to take a pay cut. Can you see? We can see through it. I can see through it, right? This was a deliberate attempt to chase Partey out of Arsenal. I'm reading between the lines, and I'm connecting the dots, and I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what went on right here. So apart from that, let's look into Partey's reasons. Partey's reasons would be, I'm not taking a pay cut. I need to secure a future for my kids, and I need to save up money. My age is getting older. And maybe he talked about the security of London, and he said London is not one of those streets where you can just walk out with your family and expect nothing to happen. So he talked about the security of London as a city. Those are Partey's reasons. Let's talk about Arsenal's reasons, right? Now, there is talk and there is real belief that this was a PR move by Arsenal. Now, there was talk about, Partey using an acceptable energy to get laid by a certain woman, right? And we all know that those talks happened. Arsenal stood by Thomas Partey. they refused to keep him out of the squad, and until today, Partey was protected, okay, by Arsenal. So could it be that Arsenal have been criticized for this, and maybe it's a PR move to say, look, the guy maybe isn't clean and we are letting him go? It could be a PR move. But if it's a PR move, Arsenal could have offloaded him a long time ago. Again, this is what I don't understand. Arsenal could have offloaded this guy a long time ago, because this all these crimes kind of started surfacing in the summer of 2022. They were serious in the summer of 2022. The summer of 2022, Arsenal could have signed a replacement, maybe Rabiot, Locatelli, anyone. Summer of 2023, Arsenal could have done a deal for anyone. Summer of 2024, Arsenal could have done a deal for anyone. And it actually, it was Arsenal trying to make sure that Partey stays rather than he leaves. So that for me rules out the PR thing. Now, listen, clubs are clubs and institutions are institutions. An institution will want to de-associate with a player that has a bad reputation, and they want to associate with those that have a very good reputation. That is why Arsenal can't sign Garnacho. That is why Arsenal can't sign Sancho. Well, Arsenal really surprised. They might do it, but they shouldn't, right? So maybe the PR reasons. That is a reason on Arsenal's side. And then the most acceptable reason is the money. That Arsenal were looking at Partey as a squad player now, and Andre Partey was unwilling to give a player that has become surplus to requirements big wages. But then that poses a question. If we sign a centre forward, does Kai Havertz take a pay cut? Does Kai Havertz also have to leave? Because if Kai has to leave, then I will understand, right? Arsenal don't want a bench player to be earning a lot of money. But if you're looking to sign a centre forward and Kai Havertz is going to stay and is going to keep earning 298k, it is unfair, it is bad what we have done to Thomas Partey. It is really, really bad. So this is what I think has happened with the Thomas Partey situation. Partey wanted to stay, but his agent told him, you are being disrespected by Arsenal. Your love for Arsenal is blinding you. These guys are disrespecting you, right? They are giving you pennies. They're giving you the last of the best in terms of your bank account. Yet you could go elsewhere. Barcelona, Saudi Arabia, Fenerbahce, Turkey, wherever, and you can get good money. So, although Partey wanted to stay, he looks into it. He's not getting any younger, and he's like, okay, let's move. And this is due to Arsenal being stingy with Thomas Partey's package. If they give him the if they give him the package he wants, if they give him the money he wants, Partey would have stayed. Question: have Arsenal got better with Christian Nogard and Martin Zubimendi? This is quite subjective, but I don't want to be like those people that look at it in this way. Zubimendi in, Partey out, we are dead. I don't want us to look at it in that way. I want us to look at what will Arsenal be missing with Partey gone, and what will Zubimendi bring, and is there kind of a balance that can be struck? Partey's abilities and Zubimendi's abilities, okay? With Partey leaving, you're losing one of the senior members of the squad, one of the pioneers of this project. At exactly 20, I think it was 28, right? 5 years ago, Partey signed for Arsenal. He was 27. He signed for Arsenal. He was a pioneer. You're losing experience, but you're also losing a person that understands this project, believes in this project, and wants to die for this project, right? Martin Zubimendi doesn't want to die for this project. Martin Zubimendi knows nothing about where this Arsenal project is coming from, and I wouldn't blame him if he didn't give, if he didn't care. I wouldn't blame him. So you're losing a patriot, kind of, right? You're losing a passionate player about Arsenal. You're losing a passionate player about this project. You're also losing the ability of this guy to combine with Declan Rice and win the ball back from the opponents like nothing we have ever seen before in the Premier League. Okay? Arsenal are losing that. His ball progression has been good, but with Martin Zubimendi, we are getting a much better ball progressor. We are getting a quicker player on transitions, and we are also getting a penetrative defensive midfielder. So when you look at what Arsenal are losing and what Arsenal are getting, balance can be struck, but in overall quality, Arsenal have really downgraded. Like Christian Nogard and Zubimendi and Jorginho and Partey leaving, Arsenal are downgrading. There's no question about that. I am impressed with the summer so far, but there is a downgrade there. So, in my opinion, that is what actually happened with Martin Zubimendi. Give me your thoughts. Let me know in the comment box below. Keep it respectful, please.